Nest. Characters: Jack, Jill, his wife, Nurse and Aunt Jane. Scene: the lounge of Jack and Jill's villa at New Hampstead. The essential furniture consists of a table on which are writing materials, and 2 chairs. As the curtain rises, the lounge is empty, but Jack and Jill come immediately, followed by Aunt Jane. Jill: and this is the lounge. Aunt Jane: charming. Charming. Such a cozy little room. And such pretty furniture. Jack: modestly, we like it, you know, handy place to sit in and listen to the radiogram. Aunt Jane: oh, have you got a radiogram as well as a car and a piano? Jack: why, of course, Aunt Jane. You simply must have a radio set nowadays. Jill: and it's so nice for me when Jack's away at business. I even make him move it into the kitchen, so that I can listen to it while I cook. Jack: sit down, Aunt Jane, you must be tired and we've shown you everything now. Jill: what do you think of our little nest, Aunt Jane? Aunt Jane: I think it's wonderful, my dears. The furniture and the car and the piano and the refrigerator and the radio, what's it? It's wonderful, really wonderful. Jack: and we owe it all to you. Aunt Jane: yes, Jack, that's what's worrying me. Jack: worrying you, Aunt Jane? Aunt Jane: yes. That check I gave you for your wedding present, it was only £200, wasn't it? I didn't put 2,000 by mistake? Jill: why no, Aunt Jane. What on earth made you think that? Aunt Jane, relieved: well, that's all right. But I still don't altogether understand. This house, it's very lovely, but doesn't it cost a great deal for rent? Jack: rent? Oh, no, we don't pay rent. Aunt Jane: but, Jack, if you don't pay rent, you'll get turned out into the street. And that would never do. You've Jill and the baby to think of now, you know. Jack: no, no, Aunt Jane. You misunderstood me. We don't pay rent because the house is ours. Aunt Jane: yours. Jill: why, yes, you just pay £10 and it's yours. Jack: you see, Aunt Jane, we realized how uneconomic it is to go on paying rent year after year, when you can buy and enjoy a home of your own for £10 and a few quarterly payments, of course. Why be Mr. Tenant when you can be Mr. Owner? Aunt Jane: I see. Yes, there's something in that. Even so, you must be getting on very well to keep up a place like this. Jill: oh, he is, Aunt Jane. Why, only last year he had a 5-shilling rise, didn't he, you, Jack? Jack: modestly, of course that was nothing, really. I'm expecting 10 this Christmas. Aunt Jane: suddenly, Jack. I've just thought of something. That car, is it yours? Jill: of course it's ours. Aunt Jane: all yours? Jack: well, no, not exactly all. Aunt Jane: how much of it? Jill: oh, I should say the steering wheel and one of the tires and about 2 of the cylinders. But don't you see, that's the wonderful thing about it. Aunt Jane, I don't see anything wonderful about it. Jill? But there is, Aunt Jane. You see, although we could never buy a car outright, we can enjoy all the pleasures of motoring for a mere £5 down. Aunt Jane, and the rest by easy installments, I suppose. Jill, exactly. Aunt Jane, exactly. And what about the radio, what's it? Jack, well, that's the Aunt Jane. And the piano? Jill, well, of course Aunt Jane. And the furniture? Jack, I am afraid so, Aunt Jane. I suppose all you own is the sled. She points to one. Jill, well, no, as a matter of fact, it's that one. She points to another. Aunt Jane, and the rest belongs to Mr. Sage, I suppose? Jill, yes. Aunt Jane, well, I'm not going to sit on Mr. Sage's part for anyone. She stands up. Now, tell me, how much do all these installments come to? Jack, well, actually, he takes out his pocketbook and consults it. Actually to £7 8 and 8 pence a week. Aunt Jane, good heavens. And how much do you earn? Jack, as a matter of fact, that is £6. Aunt Jane, but that's absurd. How can you pay £7 8 and 8 pence out of £6? Jack, oh, that's easy. You see, all you have to do is to borrow the rest of the money for the payments from the Thrift and Providence Trust Corporation. Jill, they're only too glad to loan you any amount you like, on note of hand alone. Aunt Jane, and how do you propose to pay that back? Jack, oh, that's easy, too. You just pay it back in installments. Aunt Jane, installments. She claps her hand to her forehead and sinks back weakly into the chair. Then realizes that she is sitting on Mr. Sage's piece and leaps to her feet again with a little shriek. Jack, Aunt Jane. Is anything the matter? Would you like to lie down? Aunt Jane, lie down? Do you suppose I'm going to trust myself in a bed that belongs to Mr. Sage, or Marks and Spencer, or somebody? No, I am going home. Jill, oh, must you really go? Aunt Jane, I think I'd better. Jack, I'll drive you to the station. Aunt Jane, what? Travel in a car that has only one tire and two thin gummies? No thank. Jill, oh, nurse. I want you to run and post this for me. I'll look after baby while you're gone. Nurse, certainly, madam. She hands the baby to Jill, takes the letter, and goes. A second later Jack comes in again. Jack, well, she's gone. What a tartar. Still, she did leave us a bit on account. How much was it? Jill, £10. Jack, with a whistle, phew. That's great. We can pay off the next 2 months on the car with that. Jill, I am afraid we can't. Jack, why ever not? Jill, you see, I've already sent it off for something else. Nurse has just gone to UILL take the bus. Jack, well, of course, if you feel like that about it. Aunt Jane, relenting a little, now, I'm sorry if I sounded rude, but really I'm shocked to find the way you're living. I've never owed a penny in my life cash down, that's my motto and I want you to do the same. She opens her handbag. Now look. Here's a little check I was meaning to give you, anyway. She hands it to Jill. Suppose you take it and pay off just one of your bills so that you can say one thing at least really belongs to you. Jill, awkwardly, thank you. Aunt Jane. It's very nice of you. Aunt Jane, patting her arm, there. Now I must be going. Jack, I'll see you to the bus anyway. Jill, goodbye, Aunt Jane, and thanks so much for the present. Aunt Jane, kissing her, goodbye, my dear. She and Jack go out. Jill looks at the check and exclaims £10. Then she hurries to the table, addresses an envelope, endorses the check, and slips it inside with a bill which she takes from the bag and seals the envelope. Then she rings the bell. In a moment the nurse comes in with the baby in her arms. Post it. Jack, well, that's all right. Who have you sent it to? Jill, Dr. Martin. Jack, Dr. Martin. What on earth possessed you to do that? Jill, nearly in tears, there. Now you're going to be angry with me. Jack, I'm not angry. But why waste good money on the doctor? Doctors don't expect to get paid anyway. Jill, sobbing a little, but you don't understand. Jack, understand what? Jill, why, just one more installment and baby's really ours. She is holding out the infant, a little pathetically, as we black out. Cedric Mount. Developed by SKR World YouTube channel. Surabha. Kantha Rao, English faculty.